Hi there. The discourse that I'm going to give you now is one on the spiritual attribute of serenity. Serenity. Inner peace, you could liken it to, or maybe it's an interchangeable term. I think every single human being is striving for that, whether they realise it or not. With all the chaos of life, with all the stresses and the worries and the tensions. Just to have some serenity, even for a few moments. So you might wonder, why is it a spiritual attribute then? That's because there's more to it. We're not, as spiritual people, we're not aiming for just moments of peace, of inner peace, moments of serenity. We are, over many lifetimes, of course. It doesn't. If you attain it in this one, you will have been working on it in a lot of others. It's not an easy one. Probably none of them are, but it's not an easy one to attain, because it's really getting to that point where no matter what's going on, you have a core of serenity. Just that floaty feeling. It's really hard to explain. Obviously, it has something to do with inner stability. It has something to do with dispassion. They obviously work, if you think about it, they work very well together. So working on becoming dispassionate, having dispassion, which is a spiritual attribute that I have not done a video on yet, but some of you will have gone through some of my lessons on it. The same with inner stability. I do have a video on inner stability. You might like to go back, and if you haven't listened to that one already, it might be a good idea to do so. There's no particular order to listen to these videos, although if I've done a video, I will often refer to spiritual attributes that I've done previously. But sometimes I have to refer to spiritual attributes that I haven't done a video on yet, because they are important to it. I try not to, but sometimes it's unavoidable, and this is one of them. So with serenity, it's also an ability to manage that ego that I was referring to in the discourse on true humility, where I said that sometimes we do things and then we want to brag about it, make us feel good. That's not the same as just sharing, excitedly sharing, oh, I've done this. There's that difference. And I don't think I have to explain to you the difference. I think you know. I think you know when somebody's just excitedly shared something and when they're bragging to you. You feel it. You feel the difference. And you see, when it comes to spiritual growth and development, we do live in a society today where really all information is there. It should be freely available to everybody. No, there should be no secrets, no holding back. And that's, to a great extent, right. But every now and again there is something that is better not given out willy-nilly, because it will be misunderstood or even possibly misused, because of not understanding it correctly. Or there's a matter of timing with things. And you realise, I've achieved something. And I'm talking about spiritual things here. I've had an expansion of consciousness and I want to share it with everyone. And then you realise, oh, okay. But then if I explain my experience, and it might not be you realising it, maybe your guide's telling you, hey, hold on a minute. If you explain your situation, certain people are going to look to you, towards you as some kind of a guru, and you're not. But that's how they'll see you. Some people will take what you said of your experience word for word, and then they'll set out to try to achieve that exactly how you've done it, and therefore miss out on having their own unique experience, coming to the same understanding or comprehension or receiving the same knowledge, but they may have to get it in a slightly different way. So there are times when you have to simply be serene in the knowledge that you have attained another level on your spiritual journey, and be satisfied that you know it and your guides know it. And it's not the right thing to start telling people that you've achieved this, that, or the other. It may be that you're serene in the knowledge that you can tell a person, because you and that person are going lockstep on the journey at the moment, and what you have experienced you need to share because it's going to stimulate their experience or going to add to their knowledge, because they will have an experience that they can share with you and can be serene in the knowledge that it's okay to share it with you, but not others. But you two haven't formed a secret society. Okay, it's not about secret societies. Secret societies have been down through the ages with spiritual growth and development. Sometimes, or a lot of the times, it was so that they wouldn't be persecuted. That's basically where it started from. Things were kept secret because out of fear of being persecuted. But then once things became more open, secret societies started to become something more of the ego. Oh, I'm a member of this. I'm privy to things that you don't know about. That's ego, okay? So that's not what we're after. And when we're talking about brotherhood, the spiritual attribute of brotherhood and groups, that's not the kind of attitudes that we want in spiritual groups, in spiritual brotherhoods. But there are some around where that is so. And you may have experienced them. So this serenity, serene in the knowledge of, it's amazing. They're giving me that phrase. It's even like if you make a difficult decision, you've grappled with something and you've come to a difficult decision. It hasn't been easy. It may or may not disadvantage others, or it just may affect them. And so whatever, it doesn't mean it's you had to make the decision. It wasn't that you wanted to be in that position. You had to make that decision. Life has put you there. It's been a struggle to come to a decision, but you've made it. And if you feel a serenity about having made it and now, okay, that's it, no more agonizing over it, no more doubting myself. Have I made the right decision? No more seeking the opinion of others. That's it. It feels right. You know, you might, that serenity, that feeling of serenity about it might have been brief, but you felt it. That's your indication that you have made the right decision. Regardless of the consequences, you've made that decision. So now you can, with confidence, move forward. Whether you can be serene about moving forward depends how far along you are with developing, with growing, building the muscle of serenity. That obviously would be the ideal, to feel serene about the decision you've made, and then to actually be serene as you take the next steps to follow through. That would be, you know, that's a goal. I'm not saying whether that's achievable in a human body. I used to think that all of these spiritual attributes, we had to experience them to their perfection in our last life. So, and then and only then will we not incarnate anymore. But I've since come to realise, I feel the guides have sort of filtered it through to me, that the level of perfection that I was setting may not be possible for a soul working through a human body and a human personality. So, but it's still a pretty high benchmark. It's still, you've got to get pretty close, I think. So I think, well, I've taken the thing, I'm just going to do the very best I can. Keep working at it. Keep polishing away at all my facets, doing the best I can. And let's see what happens at the end of this life. But I intend to get as far as I can. And I would hope that you would too, that you would be wanting to get as far along in your spiritual evolution in this life as you possibly can, while still allowing yourself to enjoy life. Don't stress over it. That's the last thing we're supposed to do. That's certainly not serenity. If you're stressing over your spiritual growth and development, that's the opposite to the spiritual attribute of serenity. You have to be able to be serene, knowing that you're doing the best you can, and that's enough. As long as you continue to do the best you can. But don't put that pressure on. This is not a university study where to get the career you want, you've got to get the highest possible marks in all your exams. There's no serenity and lots of pressure there. And that's how that needs to be in that aspect of life. But when it comes to your spiritual growth and evolution, no, do the best you can. And if it's not, if it doesn't seem to be as good as the next person, well, who knows? It doesn't matter why they seem to be doing better. Maybe they're not. It might just be your assumptions. Or they might have lived more lives than you. And that's okay too. But somebody who's lived less lives than someone else can be more spiritually advanced too. And it's not a race. That's where serenity comes in too. It's not a race. It doesn't matter. Just be. You're perfect the way you are. Perfect in your imperfection. And you'll continue to be perfect and perfecting your perfection as much as is humanly possible. But don't put your pressure on. Don't get lazy either. Human beings, we are one way or the other, don't we? If it's not one extreme, it's another. Oh, we're meant to be in balance. Bring it into the middle path. Okay? So don't be lazy, but don't put undue pressure on. Go at your own pace. Maybe you're a hare in this life. You know that story of the race between the tortoise and the hare? Maybe you're meant to be going fast. But there's nothing wrong with being a tortoise either, because actually the tortoise actually won that race. Of course, the hare got cocky. I thought, I got plenty of time. I'll go over here and I'll do this and I'll do that. Get sidetracked. And before they know it, the tortoise has gone past. So that's probably something to consider too on your path. I think this is a good time for me to thank our guides for the various bits and pieces of knowledge that they've slotted into these discourses for me. I just go with the flow with them and hope to goodness they come out all right. And I'm finding they're just bringing in so much useful, well, I feel it's useful information to everybody who's listening with each of these spiritual attributes. Information that's not limited to any one attribute. We live in a wonderfully interconnected existence. And that's just how these spiritual attributes are. They are so interconnected. And that's part of our journey, to be aware of the interconnectedness of all that is. Perhaps I've given you some more things to take into contemplation or meditation. Thank you for listening to me.